Hi, I'm Chelsea Husum, your host of the Lip Service and Lashes podcast. I'm an entrepreneur, author, speaker, and mom of two. And I'm so tired of women not feeling like they can show up as fully expressed versions of themselves. So here, we're all about that unapologetically, because honestly, we don't have time not to. Literally, because we're busy as F moms and entrepreneurs, but also figuratively, because we don't know how much time we have on this planet, and we want to make an impact now. But if we're doing this, we're making it real vibes only. So let's get inspired, laugh our asses off, quite possibly cry, and feel like you're sitting on the couch with your bestie and a glass of wine. I'm so happy you're here. Let's dive in. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Lip Service and Lashes podcast. I'm your host, Chelsea Husum. I'm so glad you're here. Okay, I had the most random thought the other day driving, and I was like, ooh, I need to dive into this because I don't know. It dawned on me. So when I was driving my son Wyatt to school, and I'll either let him watch, it's like a longer drive to school. So I either let him watch something like on the way there or on the way home, like he can pick one. He usually picks the morning just to kind of like zone out. And I was driving and he's listening to, like, a lot of times he watches like YouTube videos about like fishermen or hunters who are, let's say a fisherman, they're using lures and they're catching fish and they're talking about, all this different stuff. And this day he was watching somebody talking about the video game Fortnite, and I don't even know what this means, but they were talking about emotes. I don't even know. Again, I have no freaking clue what that means, but it's something in the game. And I was listening to this woman talk, and I'm just thinking how first of all, I know absolutely nothing about this stuff. Number two, how different her focus in life is different than mine. And I'm not saying that's bad. It popped into my brain that I just thought, wow, her focus and her life is so different, and her perception of life and what's important and priorities and just it was just like, that's really unique and different, right? And I kind of was thinking about how all of us, we kind of live in our little world, and it's maybe our job and our reality is so different maybe than the person standing next to us, at a bus stop or at the grocery store. And so I was like, I wanted to know, so then I'm driving and I'm just like, that's a really curious thought, a very interesting thought. And I thought, I want to go home and do ChatGPT and use AI and just literally type in, what is the purpose of life? And I was like, I just want to know what this AI stuff says, the purpose of life is, because truly, I think every single person on the planet would probably have a different answer. And obviously, if you're in a certain place where, circumstances are different, it could be such a drastic difference. Your purpose of life is just to survive or, just put food on the table for your family. Obviously, I think luckily, live a very blessed life. So I'm coming at it, the purpose of life, right? That question from a totally different angle than maybe someone who's literally struggling to have their basic needs met. So I'm just going to preface this whole conversation with that, right? So I came home and I just went into ChatGPT and I said, what is the purpose of life? That's it. And so it came up with 4 things that I just kind of wanted to go through. Now, I'm curious if you do this, what it will tell you, because, I use ChatGPT for all kinds of different stuff. It knows my podcast, it knows my book, it knows my construction company, it knows my keynote, it knows who kind of my vibe, who I am as a person ish, because I use it for so many different things. So I probably feel that this is skewed to the feedback it thinks I would want to receive. So I'm just going to say that. So maybe put that simple question for you into it and see what it says to you. But I just thought this was really interesting. So I'm going to go through each one and read what it says, and then I'll ramble on about my thoughts. Okay, so it said, I don't think the point of life is a single thing. I think it's a mix of four things that we're all here to learn in our own timing. Number one, to remember who we actually are, not who the world told us to be. It says every one of us gets layered with expectations, roles, labels, perfectionism, and pressure. And somewhere along the way, life becomes the process of unbecoming everything that isn't us so we can return to who we were before the world got loud. God, I love that. That's just like freaking beautiful. I love it. And again, it might just be tailored to because it knows my vibe and it knows I'm gonna love that shit. Um, so okay, I totally agree with that, and as we're growing up, so I keep thinking about this because, we all say, you're born this way, you're born, good at these things or loving these things or whatever. And then like maybe through schooling, maybe you're a really creative person and like through and a curious person, but through maybe traditional schooling, like you get the love of learning beat out of you because it's just boring and it's the same. And they want everyone to be in a box and act the same and do the same and be quiet and don't question. Right. I mean, I truly believe that. But I was thinking the other day, and I'm going to use Wyatt, my son, for an example. He's the honey badger. If you guys have read my book, listened to the podcast, we know he's the honey badger. And I love this kid. He's freaking amazing. He's really smart. He's really creative. He's really curious. He's like a 60-year-old man, right? He just like is so independent. He just takes care of shit. But with him, I wonder and I hope that, well, for him, for example, like getting through traditional schooling is just hard. I'm just going to say that. It's going to be hard to get him through traditional schooling. Apparently, I can't say that word today. Because like he's just this unique dude and he isn't like everybody else and he wants to question things because he's literally curious and he wants to do things his own way. And sometimes he looks at adults like, why are you telling me this? That's ridiculous. Like, no, I want to do it this way. It makes more sense. Right. So he definitely questions things and is curious and doesn't just want to do what he's told all the time or what everyone else is doing, which I love about him. But it's also a pain in the ass sometimes. And he's really freaking stubborn. Right. So it's hard to parent a child like that in general. And it's hard to get him through schooling. But it's also, I guess, my job to foster that and like keep him curious and keep him questioning and keep him doing things in a unique way because that's what the world needs, right? Before I don't want him to be like everybody else. And I don't want the world and me and my husband and school to squash his curiosity and squash his independence just to make him easier to have in school or parent, right? And like, I don't want him to be like everyone else because he's not supposed to be like everybody else. But while that might drive some teachers freaking nuts and me at times nuts, I worry sometimes when I'm like, I'll say something to him and if I'm like frustrated or whatever, and he's probably doing something that he's questioning or he's just kind of like, whatever he's not doing is not the easy thing, right? He's kind of doing it more in a difficult way, right? And maybe I get frustrated with him or I'm like, hurry up, we got to go or whatever. And it's like, God, I don't want to change who he is. And I don't want, we hear about like our parents or people in society and all these expectations. Like you might be born this beautiful, just unique person that does things your own way. But like, I don't want all these influences to change who he is as a person, right? I hope that makes sense. Like, I don't want me just hoping, like, get in the car, we got to go, like, whatever, and getting frustrated with him when he's trying to question things for his own curiosity or whatever. It's just, I don't know. I'm like in the back of my head, I'm like, please parent him so you don't squash his love of all of these things, which it makes him uniquely him, So I'm like, oh my God, please don't make this kid go to therapy and be like, I was this amazing person. And then my mom just beat the love of life out of me, I'm like, I don't know. It's in the back of my head. Hopefully you guys get what I'm trying to say here. Cause it's I like that. Before who we were before the world got loud and told us who we should be. And then who were we before we dimmed our light or we shrunk? And we changed ourselves to make everybody like us and to please everybody instead of being bold and not giving a fuck and being like, this is me and I don't give a shit and I'm going to show up in the world how I'm meant to, right? It's like we were born and then we go through it. We like modify ourselves to fit and please everyone else. And then maybe in our 40s or whenever, even later potentially, now we're trying to like undo all that and strip all that away, who we aren't, but who society and everybody told us to be, and then finally, hopefully show up as we are. Okay, that's number one. Okay, the point of life. Number two, ChatGPT said, is to create meaning, not chase milestones. It says houses, titles, revenue, accolades. They're fun, but they're not the point. Meaning happens in the tiny, unglamorous moments that nobody applauds. Your kids laugh, a genuine conversation, doing work that feels aligned, building something that matters, helping someone when no one's looking. I will agree. I feel like all the external success and chasing whatever it is, right? Yeah, that's great, but that's not the freaking point, because all of that at the end of the day is empty and really has zero meaning, truly. And I will say the things, as I'm getting older, the things I chase more is like peace, calm, joy, like fun, play, finding little silly moments in the day, the times where you just like belly laugh, like being silly with your kids, playing, making memories. That is so much more important to me in life, being around great people, who truly see you and you can be yourself and have those deep, freaking amazing conversations with people, traveling, just all the little things. It's all the little tiny things that add up that make life the most beautiful. I think it's like a sunrise, right? Just slowing down, calming down, just the little things that are like tiny daily miracles that add up that make life so freaking beautiful. It's not always the big things, that big, oh, I'm chasing that promotion. I want to get that award. I want to buy that new car, whatever. That's not the shit that matters. It's the small, like I said, the small unglamorous moments where maybe you're just alone and you witness something so beautiful that you're like, oh my God, so I love that, to create meaning, not chase milestones. And I always say to create memories as well. That's my goal with my family, is literally to create memories. And I told my kids, I said, why we go on trips and why we do these things, right? I said, the whole point of all of this is so someday you'll look back and be like, remember that time that we went to Mexico and, dad did this really funny thing at the pool, or remember that time with mom and dad that we did this. That's literally the point of me parenting, is like to try to create memories that they will look back on fondly, and like experiences too. All right. Number 3, the meaning of life per ChatGPT is to connect deeply, honestly, and humanly. It says people think they need success, but what they actually need is belonging, safe places, real conversations, the feeling of, oh, I'm not alone. That's why vulnerability hits so hard. It's the fastest path to connection, and connection is what makes everything else worth it. Okay. Again, I feel like this is tailored to me. It's like, oh, what does Chelsea think that the meaning of life should be? But I truly think it's so important. You all know I go on and on about this in every way I can, but being vulnerable, showing up real, raw, authentic. The fake shit can go. I can't do that. I have zero tolerance for that. That's not the point. I don't want to sit and talk about the weather and superficial shit. When I meet somebody, I want, like, let's dive in. Let's, like, what shit have you been through? What do you live for? What makes you cry? What makes you freaking laugh out loud? That's the shit I want to know. And it is the connection of like knowing you're not alone, going through life, it's hard. There's really hard times. And I feel like you could sit and suffer in silence and pretend that you're perfect, or you could choose this maybe harder, more, you're like being more vulnerable route, right? You definitely can get judged by people. And I'm going to tell you, you will. But if you show up and are honest and say, you know what, I'm having a hard time. And then, somebody else feels like they're not alone and they feel connected and they feel like they belong. That's the whole point. That's the beautiful part of life, is like showing up as your vulnerable self, the good, the bad, the ugly, and just being real. That's so beautiful. So I really agree with that one as well. Okay, number 4, last one, to stretch, grow, and be changed by the journey. Life is supposed to shape you, not break you, but form you. Every setback, every heartbreak, every wild left turn teaches something. You don't have to love every lesson, but you're not supposed to leave this world the same person you arrived as. Ooh, I love that. All right, a few things here. I don't, if people say, what do you regret in life? I don't regret anything. I have zero regrets. Every tiny little thing that has happened to me, that I've done, that a mistake I've made, whatever, like I've learned and grown from. I can't say I have regrets, because every single thing, good and bad, has changed me and I've learned from, and I get stronger and I move on, right? So I think when you're in it and like really in tough times, it sucks. But when you're out of it and you can look back, you're like, okay, thank you for the lesson, right? I'm stronger now. I made it through something that I didn't think I ever could, and I'm here. And now I can hopefully, share with others like, hey, you're going to get through this too. This is totally woo-woo crazy, but y'all know I'm like that. But I think my kids think I'm really insane a lot of the time, some of the shit I talk about, but it's true. And I'm like, we are the universe. We are literally pieces of stardust. And we are on this earth, like we are energy and stars and the universe on this earth having a human experience. And to think about it that way, it's just kind of cool. Like, okay, I thought I'd try just drop down and have a human experience for this lifetime and see what it's about, see what I can learn, see what I can make it through. Right. It's just like, to think of it that way is kind of cool to me. But every like the ebbs and flows of life, the one constant is we will go through hard times, we will go through adversity. But like let's say you just finally get through something that's lasted years and you're on the other side and you can kind of breathe a little bit and just, your soul can rest a little bit, right? Because you're not just in the fight. But the whole point of that is then when you're in that moment, you need to be thankful and be like, life's good right now. And I'm going to enjoy the shit out of it. I'm grateful and thankful for it. I'm going to enjoy it, because guess what? Around the corner, it could be a day, it could be a month, it could be a year, it could be 10 years from now. More shit's going to come and it's going to be hard and more adversity is going to come. But like, you can't enjoy the beautiful parts of life without the hard. Like you wouldn't appreciate it as much, right? Like you just wouldn't. So we have to go through those hard things and learn the lessons to then on the other side be at peace and enjoy it and be so thankful for that. Okay, so ChatGPT said, if I had to boil it down, it said the point of life is to live fully, love deeply, grow bravely, and leave the world a little better because you were here. I love that. I love that. Like, if that's your only goal in life is to make even the smallest impact and change, well, hopefully one person's life, but hopefully many people's lives, right? That's beautiful. To leave the world a little better because you were here. That's making an impact. And that's actually, I think, the point of life, right? To put some good and love and positivity out in the world. It says, not perfectly, not like anybody else, just fully, vulnerably, geez, I cannot talk today, and unapologetically you. Just fully, vulnerably, and unapologetically you. That's so beautiful. All right. I want to hear what you think the point of life is, because the things I'm like living for and I'm out doing and my goals I'm chasing, I'm going to guarantee the person next to me absolutely does not have those same goals. They're totally different in our perception and our reality of like how we show up every day, what we do to move ourselves forward, the goals we have, the things, we have to overcome. It's all completely different based on like who you are, how you show up in the world, what you're even doing, right? So this is such a unique question because every single person's answer will be completely different. But that's beautiful because we're all showing up as these beautiful stars. We're all unique and we're like, no one else has ever been like us and no one else will ever be like ever in the history of existence, which is so freaking cool. So like, what's your point of your life? What do you feel is the point of life for you specifically? Because the world needs you because you're the only one that ever was and you're the only one that will ever be. So tell me if you want to, I would love to hear your thoughts on this. And if you want to put it in some AI thing, I would love to hear what it says for you too, truly. Thank you for listening, everyone. Always remember, no BS, just real vibes, and I'll see you next time. If you loved the episode, share it on Instagram and tag me so I can say thank you and meet you, or share it with a girlfriend who you know would love this too. Always remember, no BS, just real vibes. See you next time on Lip Service and Lashes.